Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Planet Defenders.
We're defending the planet.
Planet Defenders.
Yeah.
Renegade Games.
Looking at Planet Defenders, probably because of the art and because of it's like it takes up a small footprint on the table. I was actually under the impression that this is a kids game to some extent, and it kind of is. It's
That's what
very
robots are.
Yeah, I mean they're cartoony and they're the only miniatures in the game.
And even like big minis is cool, but these aren't like, oh, look at this awesome giant dragon. It's like, look at this giant cartoony.
They're chibi.
They're chibi, and they
chibi
look
art.
like toys more than like minis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to say they're bad quality. They're definitely miniature quality.
They're great toys.
But they're great toys. But I was like, oh, well, this is like a kid's game. But it is and it isn't. Like, it's not something you would play with an 8-year-old. But at the end of the day, when it was the three of us playing, we were a little bit over the tonal age of the game, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Like, it's definitely kind of a lighter game.
Yeah.
There are a lot of interesting mechanics though. Like I love the way the movement system works, where you're spending your batteries to move, but after you've moved that robot, it flips the card to the other side, and then the next player actually has an advantage or a disadvantage depending on what side it has now flipped to.
It was definitely one that going into it, I had kind of like a low first impression of it.
Expectations.
Yeah, low expectations. I was kind of like, all right, let's play this one, and then once we after a couple rounds, it was when we're kind of opened up, and I'm like, oh no, this is it's like Tom said, it's not like super advanced, but it's definitely more than I originally thought it was, especially because you can be super tricky and backstabby and block people into corners, and if you're really thinking about what flips over and what goes where, you can block a robot into a corner and then have two of his face up, so that only one you have to move one robot a certain way, or if you know that oh, Aaron needs more batteries, we're going to position these robots such that he can't get batteries or something.
You place them on the battery spots, then...
Or have a guy that's 2 away from a battery and only his number one move is up and stuff. It's all kinds of trickiness.
So, I mean, in terms of complexity, it's very middle of the road. At the end of the day, it's just action selection and, sort of resource management-esque, game.
And with action selection, there are 3 actions you get. It's not like action selection, you have all these different things you can pick from. It's 3 things you can pick.
So you have 3 different
movements, but where you land is your
that's
selection.
All right.
And again, because you are, let's say, if you only have the 1s available, or if you have 2s available, it's like saying, well, I am 1 away from this spot, and in this spot, if I choose this guy, I'm 1 away from this spot, and that spot, if I choose this guy. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you can really look at it and say, well, this is what I'm going to go for, and then kind of go for it, It's not like some games you have that analysis paralysis where you're just like, whoa, what am I going to do? And here you're like, well, there's 4 things I can capture, or I can get these bonus cards. So how can I do? I'll decide either I'm going to get the bonus card or I'm going to try and capture one of these, and I'm going to go for it.
And I did get that analysis paralysis feel 1 or 2 times playing it, and less of there's so many options, but there's only 2 options, and they're both bad. Which one of these is...
That's if we block you.
Yeah, again, I got blocked, and it was sitting there thinking all right, I can do this, or I can do that, or I can do that number 1 again, or number 2. Is there number 3? No? Okay, do I want to do number 1? So, and it's not like a 10-minute sitting there thinking it locks the game up. It's 30 seconds of what do I do?
Yeah, which is the most analysis paralysis you would ever expect from a game of, again, medium complexity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually is a little hard to pre-plan your turns because all of the minis are shared. You're like, okay, I want to move here, but I don't know what Tom, after I take my turn, Tom's got to go, Wes got to go. These things are going to be totally moved around. And unless I've, bought some upgrades where I can actually move the people the way I want them and get the robots positions the way I want them, I might not really be able to plan out my turn until Wes has already taken his first action. I'm like, okay, I got kind of a plan. Let me see what other action he takes. Okay, now I can set my plan in motion. Or it's just going to get your turn and then you're thinking.
And I feel like it's less of planning your turn, but more of thinking what do I need? Okay, I know I need an orange energy.
Yeah.
what's left to get me orange energy, so you can kind of like have a goal to get to, less of this is exactly what I'm going to do.
One aspect I do want to comment on is the fact that this game is 2 to 4 players. And I've said it time and again that I usually think 4 and 5 players are the magic number for games. And any games that is 2 and up, specifically if it goes from 2 to 4, 5, or 6, that the 2-player experience is always going to be different. And this game is no exception. In only really one area is that the whole you can block other players became a lot more prevalent with the 2-player game because of the thing that Aaron said is you choose these things, these robots to activate, and then they flip over. Well, if you're going second, right? I'm going first. They all start at level 1. If I move 2 robots and 2 of them flip over to their 2 side, well, then my opponent can use the 2 side every time and only leave me with the one movement side. Now, I'm not saying that that's a dominant strategy by any means. There are times when it's not optimal to use both of your actions, right?
Or that you want to only move one space, and like moving 2 could mess you up.
Right. It's just that's a possibility, and it's more of an annoyance. Like, there were a lot of times when I was playing it when my opponent was doing that, and it was bothering me. I was like, no, I need to go 2. And he's like, I know, I'm doing that on purpose. And the fact that he got that power, I guess, is kind of a going second bonus, but not really, because you finish the round. Whoever triggers endgame finishes the round. So it did feel like just an incentive to play it with 3 or 4 players. As with any game like this that goes 2 to 4, and I just know that that's there for a 2-player version.
And if you want a more cutthroat game, maybe that could work for you.
Right, but again, to say more cutthroat is more just like there's that one annoying factor.
That's fair.
Right.
I am kind of surprised with player count that they didn't make this 1 to 4, because I think it'd be really easy to say it's a 1-player game and you have X moves to like kill X amount of robots around you, and it would almost become like that game at checkers where you have the little pegs and you like jump them.
The thing that you get at Cracker Barrel?
Did I say checkers?
Well, what is it?
At Cracker Barrel. That's
Yeah,
what I meant.
but you say you get it at Checkers?
Checkers is wrong. I meant you get it at Cracker Barrel. It's the little
Well,
triangle.
when you said Checkers, I thought you were talking about the game that's like Checkers. I didn't think you actually pulled into the drive-thru at Checkers and they handed you this game.
You ignoramus.
Yeah, that game. You guys, if you don't know what I'm
The
talking
triangle.
about, we'll throw a picture of it up. You can see it.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to Cracker Barrel and take a picture of it or something.
I got one
anyway,
on Google.
it could be that way. That it's you have this amount of turns to kill this many robots. You have to kind of think out. I don't personally like solo games that much, but if you are someone who likes solo games, I feel like you could very easily make house rules for this that would work for you.
I really like that there's multiple ways to score victory points in this game. Capturing the robots is the main way, but also when you're scoring these little bonus cards, like you get a set collection bonus of them. So like if you get 5 different ones, you're getting 6 bonus points, and there's kind of gives everybody a chance to get a little bit different strategy to eventually come away with a victory.
And it does incentivize you to get those bonus point cards, because while they're special abilities and they can help you as the game progresses, it's possible that you pick up a card that you never actually use, just because for whatever reason, not because it's a bad card, but you're now incentivized. Not only am I going to get this ability, but I'm just slowly scraping up points. And you're right, I do always think that that's a good mechanic to where there's like, here's the main way you can get points, but also you can pick up a couple of points along the way while doing this.
Yeah.
I do want to cut back to something Aaron mentioned earlier, where you're all controlling these pieces. It's not something where like, all right, I'm playing the yellow guy and Tom's playing the blue guy. And I think it's a really interesting mechanic you don't see in a lot of games. It kind of like Klondike Rush, where we're not each controlling a company, we're all bidding on the companies. And it's cool because it's not like, oh, you got blocked into a corner and your guy's just stuck over here, but like you can just pick whatever you want and you're moving each other's pieces so you can move that piece away from something that they're trying to get to. And it's just, I feel like it's an interesting dynamic that you don't see super frequently that this game adds well. I think these, not minis because they're huge, but these figures, we haven't yet, but I really think they're going to take paint super well. The paint job on them is just mediocre, I would say, that comes in the box. Like, it's definitely good enough to play the game. It's not amazing. But I think that if you are someone who likes painting, like I would pick this up just to paint these guys because they would look so cool painted up. I did think it was a fun game. I'm excited to play it again, and I definitely would say you should check it out.
I agree. This is actually a really fun game, and it's a nice smaller box game. Like it's not a huge box. It doesn't take up a large footprint, and there's a lot of strategy and the way you actually, you know, go around collecting these energy cubes and, you know, trying to trade those energy cubes for your batteries, and then you use those batteries to do actions, and then use those actions to collect more cubes, and, you know, it's just this cycle. But it's really fun. You're like trying to calculate, okay, can I move over here and trade this one in? And then there's actually like the die down in the corner. If you want to go gamble, you can just like, okay, I'm gonna go down here and roll. Oh, dang it, I just got a 1. So you get like the just batteries, and you're like, I really wanted the energy cubes. Overall, like, it plays well. Like, it's very simple to teach, and, you know, hard to master.
I'm going to take a very similar stance as these two guys did. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, but it's just ever so slightly below my bar for something I really feel I need to have on my gaming shelf. Again, I enjoy playing it. I feel it would be great for like younger gamers or teens, or like almost as an intro game. You know, if you have kids, not like, you know, 5-year-olds, but, you know, if they can play Magic, they can play this.
It's definitely not like intimidating to sit down to.
No, not for almost nobody is it intimidating. I can probably play this with my mom or my grandma.
That's
or
always your level.
whatever.
Like, I can play with my mom.
If I can play with my mom, I mean, come on. For me, like, I'm probably not going to want to sit down and play this with just these guys. It's perfect for those other scenarios, but for intro gamers, for your mom, for your kid, blah, blah, blah. But for just me personally, it's okay to play with them. In this amount of time, there are other games I would rather play at this complexity level. But if you have a mom, a grandma, a kid that you want, a girlfriend, yeah, absolutely.
Rachel likes this game.
Yeah. So if any of those sound like your situation, we'll have a purchase link to this game in the description box down below.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe.
So you'll never be bored.
One
I wasn't
and
sure if
done.
you're going to do that again.
One and done.
Yeah.
That was great. Okay, well, that was bad. If you have a mom, a grandma,
A
a
girlfriend.
kid that you want, a girlfriend, yeah, absolutely.
Rachel likes this game.
Yeah,
A
okay.
girlfriend who isn't a heavy gamer, because I'm sure there's
There
a couple
are
girls in there,
people
Steph, who sent us this, would be like,
Yeah.
whatever, I play games all the time. Oh, she's a wife now, so
So yeah, so
this is how she types.
we've seen her. She sends us videos of her typing.